Welcome back, sports gamers. It's The Natural. I have developer Dustin Smith, the equipment guru, here today to talk about the new equipment in Madden 20, tattoos, customization, mouthpieces, and even why referees were removed from the game this year. If you appreciate the exclusive content we bring to you here at SGO, be sure to like, subscribe, or turn your notifications on for more. All right, let's get right into it. Can you tell us your process in determining what equipment goes into the game each year?
Sure. We first thing we do is, I keep like a running tab of things we have that we need to either fix, update, adjust, anything like that. And then after that, we keep a giant long running tab of everything that I want to get put in the game, and I kind of put it in priority of like, what's the most important thing? What's everybody asking for? What do we need to focus on the most? And then that kind of gets sorted through based on how many available resources we have, depending on how expensive each ask is. So like something like face masks is so much easier to get in versus something like mouthpiece, tattoos, things like that take a lot more time and have a whole lot more involved in their addition to the game.
How many pieces of equipment, new equipment and gear have been added into Madden 20 in the game this year?
Let's say 30. Let's say 30 is a round number for now.
Okay. And you did mention tattoos a little earlier. What's kind of the holdup with tattoos? I know there's some legal obstacles with specific player tattoos and getting releases from the tattoo artists. But what's the holdup with just custom tattoos or tattoos that's not specific to any player and allowing people to use those and put them on players?
Yeah, we had intentions of getting to that this year, but with some of the other things that popped up, like Creative Face and a few other things, it pulled resources to different areas where it kind of fell off the end, unfortunately. I wouldn't rule that out, but it's still something that, there's a lot of legal stuff around it that we've got to be delicate with, to be smart about, make sure that everything in it's okay. We can have it the way we want it and do it the right way without everybody getting mad at us, and maybe we just make all custom designs. I don't know what route we take, but we'll be smart about it when we get it in.
Yeah, you mentioned Creative Face. Can you talk a little bit about that? And is that close to getting back to like creative player type deal functionality that you used to have in past Maddens?
I would describe our Creative Face kind of along the lines of the way Fight Nights used to be. It was kind of a top-down initiative. We wanted to get that in the game. It was an ask from above, so it was a big thing to kind of throw into face of the franchise and get you to be able to make you look just like you, and then really tweak and adjust and make everything the way you want it to be. I still don't think we have everything in there that we want to get to, but for the first year and how short of a time frame we had to work with to get it in, I think we did pretty well with it. I wasn't a ton involved in that feature, but I can definitely speak to a lot of the people that I know that were involved, and they're very proud of how that work came out. It's not available in as many places as people probably want in the game, but it's still available, and you can do some really cool things with it, and I think people will really enjoy it this year.
And that's customization done with the controller. There's no face actual like scan where you can put the exact face in the game, right?
Correct.
Okay. Good. Keeping with the customization, a lot of people, kind of want to be able to customize things on their own, like custom visors and custom cleats, where they can actually design their own, gear and have them in the game like other games do. What's kind of your thoughts on that?
I know that's something we want to get to. I can definitely say that much. I know we don't have anything in it like this year where you can design a cleat or anything like that, any of the crazy stuff, because something like that is definitely a big overhaul of how we do things. Doesn't mean we're not going to get to it, but it's just not something we have right now. It's a big customization is just a big thing in general that we're kind of shooting for moving forward as a brand, as a company. So I think the more we move forward, I think the more cool things you'll see in that kind of regard of what you can change and how you can change it, and making your look uniquely you, things like that, like, is not something that we're gonna ignore moving forward. I'll say that much.
Okay. One of the biggest complaints last year that I've seen a lot was the pad levels. Has that been addressed or adjusted for Madden 20?
I've adjusted a bunch of pad stuff and things like that. I know the biggest thing that people seem to gripe about is how much it kind of hangs off the arm. is the pad width. It was an art direction call to have that look the way it is there, even at its smallest. I've done everything I can to make it as not noticeable as possible, but it's better this year, but not perfect or not all the way where I would want it. That's all I can say.
Okay. What about the striped socks and the height adjustments, or teams with striped socks like the Chiefs and Bears to be
Yep.
able to raise and lower their socks?
I'm not going to say that we won't get to that this year, but as of right now, we're not doing it.
Okay.
But that
So,
doesn't mean something will change.
so at launch, it's not in, but it's a possibility for later.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And what about the back plate where you can, have the players where the jerseys rolled up like Zeke and you can show their back plate, something like that?
We don't have anything like that this year because the NFL still is very particular in that regard of that being a uniform violation. I think the more as we move forward, I think I know a lot of people saw me put out a tweet about, hey, even if it's illegal, what are some of the cool things you'd like to see in game and stuff like that? That's not for this year, but it's something that we're compiling a list for to see if, what we can and can't do in the future. Who knows what we will be allowed to do and what we won't be allowed to do, and if it's in different modes or, pre-game, post-game, whatever, locker room scenarios, whatever it may be, whatever we're allowed to do, we'll see how that comes out.
Yeah, because that's always kind of what I was thinking, that, some things are banned in game, like certain visors, and, they're not allowed to have that way in the game. But and you see those players wear that in practice mode. You see them wear that in preseason and things of that nature. So, that's something that you maybe get around those rules.
Yeah, I if we keep doing cool and unique things and we give you some more like a practice version or a street version or this version or that version, right? If we give you something like that, I wouldn't rule out being able to have some of those things as we go forward.
Yeah, I think people would love to have specific practice equipment.
Yeah.
So some things that people ask about in the game this year, do you have the towel in the back like Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, also Tom Brady's chin strap? Are they in the game?
So we didn't get to the towel moving around. I don't know if that'll be something easy that we can kind of go for here in the future. I asked around about it a few times here in the office about trying to get that in this year. It was just lower priority than a bunch of the other stuff we put in. I think the hand warmer's got to be relatively easy too, but we're talking about skinning and how it lays and how it moves with the body. So there's still extra work in doing it. It's not just moving it on a player and then it just works, because there's extra things that go with it when you move the towel and the hand warmer like that. So it's not so simple.
So are there actual physics that go that are the equipment impacted by physics in the game?
Yeah, so like the towel moves and stuff like that, and since we kind of have the hand warmer resting on the body, it isn't so much impacted by physics, but it does have to move with the player. So anything that has to move with the player like that, you have to be careful about it, because it has to lay. Like if you don't properly skin it or things like that, it'll move and warp and be all wonky and stuff, because it just doesn't. It's not laying correctly unless all of the extra work is done to make sure that it fits the body right.
Okay. What about the neck pass, neck rolls in addition to those?
So we don't have anything new at launch, but I will say I have been putting a ton of effort on that and a few other things moving forward. We'll see what happens, but I hope to be able to have some cool stuff coming post launch for you guys. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what all it'll entail, but hopefully, if everything comes together right, I'll have some fun stuff to show after launch.
Okay. What about the ability to give players beards or change their hair styles in the game?
On any player?
Yeah.
No, we don't have anything like that this year. Creative face is still kind of the only area where you can do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think as we move forward, I don't know if the NFL will stop us or not, but we may be able to get to something like that where it's just a swappable where you can kind of put whatever you want on anybody. But I think that'll still have to go through NFL or NFLPA and hey, you can or can't do this. I think like WWE is another game where like you can only do so much with like a player's or a wrestler's face. Like I still think they limit it to a degree. So I don't know if we'll be held to the same limitations or if we'll be able to do something like that or not.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You have brought up NFL a couple of times. What kind of impact does the NFL and their approval process have on what goes, what's basically what you're allowed to do?
I mean, every time we put out a game, it has to be approved by them. So major features always have to go through them, stuff like that. I mean, it's still their name on the game, so it's important that we, put out a good product that everybody's happy with and they agree to and that they're okay with. Um, we can't go out there and put a bunch of blitz stuff in the game and did not tell them and then expect them to be okay with it once it comes out and they see all the crazy stuff happening.
Yeah. One thing that I have seen people ask about, and maybe you can talk a little bit to this, is the sidelines and upgrading the sidelines. I've spoke with Clint Olderman previously, and he's told me that it's pretty much a memory limitation, and that's something that's tough to upgrade. Can you talk a little bit about upgrading the sidelines with better player models or names on jerseys and equipment, mascots, and cheerleaders and event staff on the Madden sideline to make it more realistic?
Yeah, I would agree. I think memory is kind of the thing we're at. We're kind of getting to the end of this console generation's memory limit, and we always get a little bit more memory each year so that we always can, because you never fully unlock it for all sorts of reasons. You have to go year by year by year, and each year we get a little bit more so that there's appropriate change and jump each year. That because if, let's say, you have everything available to you right up front, right, sometimes the console can't even handle that if it's like the first year of the generation. So we have to prioritize and schedule out like how much are we okay with this taking? How much are we okay with this taking? Because if you don't do it that way, the game could run really, really, really slow because there's performance hits when you're talking about something like that. So you have to be really smart about it. Our graphics department's always on top of all that stuff, making sure that hey, you can't just add all these 90 new things and expect the game to just run real smooth. Like all of these things have to be tested. They have to be run through. All sorts of memory things got to be checked. So that's one of the big things that like anytime you're talking about like new gear and things like that, sideline guys, anytime it's not something static, if it's something that moves or interacts or things like that, anything like that is always going to be more memory cost on the game.
So is that resource management and balancing, is that one of the reasons that referees were removed from the game in Madden 20?
Yes, that was one of the main reasons. Plus, I mean, I think that some of our other guys on the design team felt that, I mean, you could kind of run through them. Their collisions wasn't so great with them. They could be a lot better. So that honestly, when we end up bringing them back at some point, they're going to be in a lot better shape. They'll be a lot better. They should react a lot better. Maybe they're even physical. I don't know. Depends on whatever they choose to do there. But they want it, when we bring it back and it's not a performance hit or anything like that, we want it to actually matter and look better.
Okay. And last question, and last but not least, I'm sure you already know what it is. Player mouth guards. Will they be in Madden 20? If not, how far off are we from getting them in the game?
Oh man, I've been spending so much time on this one that there's a good chance something could be seen this year, but I can't commit to anything.
You heard that here first.
I can't commit to anything, but that we're absolutely looking into it. We're trying everything we can. Maybe it happens, but for Madden 20, maybe it's in a patch. I don't know, but I've definitely put in everything I can to make Mouthpieces happen.
You heard it here first, guys. He did not confirm nor deny, but it sounds very positive to me.
Hopefully.
Thanks a lot, Dustin. I appreciate you coming on and speaking with us about equipment.
Hey, man, happy to.
All right, have a good one. Well, that is all we have for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on the possibility of Mouthpieces and other equipment coming this year in the comments below. If you did like the video, drop a like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on for more Madden 20 here at SGO. It's The Natural. I'm out.